The average person will spend over $3,500 this year on things they don't need, won't remember buying, and will probably feel bad about afterward. That's not a spending problem, that's a system problem. And the fix isn't willpower, it's a trap. Today, I'm going to show you how to set that trap for your future self and how 6 of those traps, running automatically, are how you save your first $10,000 faster than you ever thought possible. We're not doing cut your coffee advice. We're not doing vision boards. We're talking about how to set traps for your future self so you literally can't overspend without pain. How to trick your brain into getting dopamine hits without swiping your card. And the exact command center structure that moves your money into savings and investments automatically while you sleep, scroll, or do absolutely nothing. By the end of this video, you'll have a money map, a simple blueprint that makes saving $10,000 feel less like an uphill battle and more like gravity working in your favor. If that's you, subscribe and like this video. It's free. Drop a comment telling me the one thing you're going to change about your money this week. To save $10,000, we have to deal with one person first, your future self. Your future self is weak, not because you're a bad person, because that's how humans are wired. We make decisions based on how we feel in the moment, and in the moment, the thing always feels worth it. There's a technique called the ULYSSES contract, named after the guy who literally tied himself to a ship's mast so he couldn't chase the sirens and crash. He knew his future self would be irrational, so his present self set a trap. We're doing the exact same thing with your money. In high school, every bit of money I made from supermarket shifts went straight into video games. I couldn't stop, not because I lacked discipline, but because the temptation was always right there. Then I started building friction, and everything changed. There are 2 types of friction. Internal friction means making it physically annoying to spend money. Some people freeze their credit cards in a literal block of ice. If you want to buy something, you wait for the ice to melt. By the time it does, the impulse is gone. Others cut up their cards entirely, so they have to wait for a new one to be mailed before they can spend on credit. The logic holds. The harder it is to buy something, the less likely you are to buy it emotionally. External friction means bringing another person into the game. I once gave a friend a signed check for $50 and told her she could cash it if I played video games for more than an hour a day. My discipline problem vanished immediately because now there was a real external penalty. You can do this with any bad spending habit. Give a trusted person money to hold. Use a commitment app that donates to a cause you hate if you miss your savings target. Pain is a powerful teacher. Use it on purpose.
Here's a hard truth. Your brain makes tens of thousands of decisions every day. Each one burns a little mental energy. By the time you're home after a long day, you are mentally empty. That's why you choose takeout over cooking. That's why you spend money you meant to save. If you're serious about $10,000, you cannot rely on motivation. You need a command center, a structure that moves money for you whether you feel inspired or not. Quick question, is your entire paycheck just sitting in one big pile in your checking account, and every time you tap your card, it's a decision? If it is, that's the leak. Here's how the boring rich architecture works. Step 1. The pre-tax snatch. Wherever possible, have money automatically flow into retirement or investment accounts before it hits your bank. You never miss what you never see. Step 2. The command center. The rest of your paycheck lands in one central checking account. This is the hub. Nothing gets spent directly from here. Step 3. The goal split. From that hub, automatic transfers push fixed percentages into sub-accounts every month. Your 10K savings fund, your emergency fund, your travel fund. Set it once, let it run. Step 4. The bill autopilot. Your recurring subscriptions and bills charged to a credit card. Your command center pays that card off in full automatically every month. You now spend a few minutes a month managing your money, And you'll save more than when you were trying really hard. That's not laziness. That's engineering.
Let's talk about why you buy things you don't actually need. Science shows the biggest dopamine hit doesn't come from owning something, it comes from wanting it. The research, the browsing, the adding to cart, that's where the chemical reward lives. The moment you buy it, dopamine crashes back to baseline. The thing just sits there. You want a sparkling water machine. You research it obsessively, order it, wait for delivery, and 2 weeks later, it's a countertop ornament. You're back to your normal level of happiness, but you're $100 poorer. Over $3,500 a year disappears this way for the average person. Most of those purchases end in regret. The fix is the 30-day rule, and it exploits the same dopamine system. Step 1. The not now, but later list. The next time you see something you must have, don't buy it. Open a note on your phone, call it not now, but later, and write the item down. This alone gives your brain a small dopamine hit because you've acknowledged the desire. Want satisfied, wallet untouched. Step 2, the forced wait. You must wait 30 days, no exceptions. If after 30 days you still genuinely want it and it fits your budget, go get it guilt-free. But most of the time, after 10 or 12 days, the craving is completely gone. You wanted the feeling, not the thing. Now you kept both the cash and the peace of mind.
Okay, what about when you genuinely have to buy something? Here's the rule that'll save you thousands anyway. Most people wreck their savings progress not by spending recklessly, but by buying low-quality replacements without a system. They buy the cheap version, it breaks in 6 months, they buy again, and the cycle bleeds them dry. I recently needed a new coat. I found one online for $400. When it arrived, it felt paper thin. The quality didn't come close to matching the price. Then I went to a thrift shop and found a 100% wool vintage coat made in the USA in perfect condition, $12, better in every way. That's the one-for-one rule. Only buy to replace, not to upgrade, not to refresh your aesthetic, only if the old version is broken, worn out, or genuinely doesn't serve you anymore. Second-hand first. Before buying new, check thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, or local second-hand apps. Older items are often better quality and cost a fraction of the price. One in, one out. The moment something new arrives, the old version leaves. Sell it on Marketplace, donate it, or give it away. This prevents stuff creep and keeps your spending intentional. If you can live comfortably without something right now, that's your sign. You don't actually need it. Don't let a flash sale steal your $10,000 goal.
Here's something uncomfortable. Most people who can't save $10,000 don't have an income problem. They have a visibility problem. They genuinely don't know where their money goes. Most budgeting systems collapse because they demand you track 20 different categories. In the boring rich system, we only care about 4. I call them the 4 C's. Picture a simple 4-box grid. Capital, your real take-home pay, not your salary on paper, the amount that actually hits your account after tax and deductions. Core needs, the basics that keep your life running. Housing, utilities, transport, groceries. Survival, not comfort. Choice bucket, where your lifestyle lives. Eating out, streaming services, hobbies, little luxuries. This isn't evil, but it needs a ceiling. Compound number, your wealth-building bucket. Money heading toward your 10K fund, investments, or debt paydown. Anything that makes your future self richer. When you map these out, you get your money map score. If your choice bucket is consistently bigger than your compound number, you are not saving $10,000. You are financing your current lifestyle at the expense of your future. The goal, month by month, is to shift even 5% out of choice and into compound. Do that consistently, and the 10K arrives faster than you expect.
Even with a perfect system, weeds grow. That's why every 3 months you run a quarterly audit, a 30-minute financial health check.
I once discovered I was being charged $250 for a wine subscription I had already canceled. I'd signed up for a $60 promotional offer, canceled the same day, and 2 months later they hit me for the full price. I would have completely missed it without the audit. Here's the data point that should make you uncomfortable. People estimate they spend about $86 a month on subscriptions. The actual average is $219. That's a gap of $133 a month, almost $1,600 a year, silently leaving your account. Here's how to run the audit. Export your data. Every 3 months, download your last 90 days of transactions from your bank and credit cards into Excel or Google Sheets. Find the recurring charges. Filter or use conditional formatting to highlight anything that repeats. Streaming services, apps, memberships, random software trials that became paid plans. Surface all of it. Use the "I didn't realize" script. For anything you don't use, cancel it immediately, then email their support. "I wasn't aware I was still being charged for this. I haven't used the service. Could you please refund the recent charges?" Most companies say yes, it costs them less to refund you than to deal with a dispute. Negotiate what you keep. For services you actually use, your phone plan, your internet, call and ask about cheaper tiers, loyalty discounts, or current promotions. I've had annual fees, bank charges, and random paper statement fees wiped just by asking politely. 30 minutes, potentially hundreds of dollars recovered. Run it quarterly without fail.
The last piece is making all of this stick without it feeling like a second job. You can't force yourself to become a money person through sheer determination, but you can sneak money habits into the life you already have. This is called habit stacking, attaching a new behavior to a routine you already do automatically. You already have brainless habits, making coffee, brushing your teeth, your morning commute. These happen on autopilot every single day. We're going to piggyback a 30-second money habit onto one of them. Here's a real example. I set a rule that every Sunday morning, before I open any social media, I transfer 10% of that week's income into savings. It takes 8 seconds. In 12 months, that one habit quietly built over $4,000 without a budget, without tracking every coffee, without any extra effort. Your homework for tomorrow: pick one brainless habit and attach a 30-second money task to it. Some options. While you brush your teeth at night, check your upcoming bills for the week. Every time you close Instagram, move a fixed small amount into savings. During your morning commute, review one line item from yesterday's spending. Small, consistent, automatic. Your brain is already wired to protect its routines. Use that to build your wealth. Saving $10,000 isn't about luck. It's not about earning more. And it's definitely not about being some disciplined, exceptional person who never enjoys life. It's about building systems that make saving the default, the path of least resistance. Set the ULYSSES contract, build the command center, run the 30-day rule, follow the 1-for-1 rule, map your 4 C's, audit quarterly, stack the habits. Do those things consistently, and the $10,000 accumulates almost by accident, not because you worked harder, but because you stopped working against yourself. If that's you, subscribe and like this video. It's free. Drop a comment telling me the one thing you're going to change about your money this week. Change the system, change the result. Boring is underrated.